All right. So back again for book reviews with the Wheel Reads, or at least Alan from the Wheel Reads, because I'm the one reading the books and doing the reviews. So we will have videos in the future with Ian and Chris on as well. Those will be more podcast centric, but the things that are just kind of things I'm doing on the side are mostly me. And if you don't like listening to me or you miss Ian and Chris, don't worry, I'll bring them in. They'll be here. I guarantee it. But before I get into what we're reviewing today, first I want to talk about some changes that I've made into how I'm going to be doing reviews going forward. So before I was kind of disjointed and just kind of like, this is what I think about the book, and didn't really have a clear scale about it. So what I've done is I've created kind of a matrix around that with 5 different categories that then I can rate on how I like that. So let's go right into those 5 categories, and then we'll give it an overall rating, our score. Once we're all done, give it a report card: A, B, C, or D, or an F. F being horrible. I have not read an F book yet this year. When I did this matrix actually on Memoirs of a Geisha, it was a D, so it wasn't quite an F, and I didn't like it. So haven't found an F yet, but I'm sure it's coming. It's coming. So let's talk about these different categories. So we have pacing. That's our first category. Second category is theme. Third category is character development, or the way characters are written, whether they're flat or dynamic, whether they're fleshed out or just feel just flat on the page and there's no really emotional connection to the character. I hate books, loathe books that do this. That just have characters with no emotional attachment to them, because I just feel like, why am I reading this? And then world building. That's a really important one to me, just being able to be immersed into the world and really have my mind's eye what this world should look like. And last is plot. Plot's probably my most heavily weighted in this scale of things, because honestly, if you don't have a good plot, I don't like the book. So pacing's also another one that's pretty high. And these things are weighted differently depending on how I like them. So with that being said, I'm going to give the ratings on a scale from 1 to 10, although some of them are weighted more than others. So that goes into the ending overall factor. So what book are we reviewing? I didn't even get to that yet. So we are reviewing The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson, the first book of the Stormlight Archives. Stick around. After I'm done with the ratings, I will be going into a spoiler-filled discussion about what I thought about different aspects of the book. But until we get there, let's go right into this crazy matrix. So, pacing. Let's talk about pacing of the book. This is probably what I rated the book the least favorable on. I gave it a 6 out of 10. Reason being is because it's a tough book to get into. It starts and restarts and restarts. I think it's like chapter 4 before you even meet main characters and stuff like that. I'm not trying to get too spoilery, but stick it out, because the first part is really confusing and I have no idea what's going on. And it was tough. And then there's different aspects where they kind of go through these different characters that show back up after not being talked to, and you're like, who are we talking about again? I don't understand what's going on. I just don't. I'm confused. And I actually read the book twice before doing this. Yeah, the whole thing twice, and still some parts were jarring. So pacing, I'm going to give it a 6. Theme, give it an 8 out of 10. Had some great themes in there. I'm not going to get too much into the themes once again, because I don't want to be spoilery. Yeah. But the theme that stood out the most was just, overcoming adversity. I always love a story that has a character that's just downtrodden, and everything's going against them, and finds a way to overcome that when all is lost. So that's a major theme that goes through these books, along with a lot of other ones. And I'm not going to get too much into, whether it's honor and what does honor mean, and all those things. And those are common themes in Brandon books. And then there's also mental health themes as well that kind of intertwine into the Stormlight Archive. So not going to get too much of all those, but just give it an 8 out of 10 on my themes. Character development. The main character, or at least one of the main characters, I absolutely adore now. And I think you're meant to. I think most people do. And I'll get to that in the spoiler section, who that is. Some characters didn't really like, could care less about, and actually liked some of the more tertiary characters better than some of the main characters in the series. And hopefully it gets better in the future books. I'm going to read all of them. So, but some of these characters, I'm still keep my fingers crossed that they come around and win my heart over in the long run. But right now, I'm kind of like, every time I got to this one character's chapter, I'm like, This again? Really? I guess we're going to do this again. All right. World building. Give it 9 out of 10. No, sorry. Give it 10 out of 10. World building. 10 out of 10. Probably one of the best books I've ever read as far as world building goes. You are just immersed into this world, and you get the idea of what these landscapes look like and how they do battle on them, and it's very, very immersive, and my mind's eye completely pictures everything exactly how these things are all panning out, and it's just breathtaking to see if I ever see it outside of my mind's eye. But at least in my mind, it's breathtaking or mind taking or whatever you call that. I don't know, but yeah. So world building, 10 out of 10, probably the highest score on there. And plot, I give it an 8. Reason why I didn't give it a 9 or 10 and held back a little bit, really boils down to a few parts that I didn't like. A few plot lines I just didn't like. The main plot line I liked a lot. At least one of the main plot lines. One of the main plot lines I just didn't like at all. I had no invested interest in it. And I've been told it gets better. So, yeah. Overall, out of Apostle score 65. Like I said, there weren't 10. There's 5 categories, but some are weighted. I got a 47, so that's 72%, or 47, 72.31%, which on my scale is actually a B. I give the book a B. I can go into my scale and things like that, but as far as a grade level, it's a B. Not a high B, just kind of a slightly above average B, not quite a B plus, but not the greatest book I've read yet this year. In fact, Heroes of Age by Mistborn is my only A book I've read so far. So I know I didn't rate that when I did that, but that book was an A. The finale of the first trilogy of Mistborn was beautiful. And I've heard Storyline Archives is amazing as well. I'm sure as a whole, the series is going to be rated a lot higher as I keep going on because everybody rants and raves about it, or maybe it won't. Maybe I won't like it, and I'm entitled to my opinion. So yeah. I might not like it. It might get worse for me. I've heard some people it does. So anyway, I'm hoping it goes well. So let's go on to spoiler talk. All right, spoilers. Yeah, so let's talk all about things I liked and disliked about The Way of Kings. The start I hated. We'll start with bad, and I'll end on good. The start I hated. Just the disjoint, and then you talk about these people, and I have no idea who these people are, and then they don't show up again really at all in the rest of the book. I mean, I'm trying to think, like, Collect. It's I think the first scene, and Collect, yeah, and they don't show back up. And they mention, I guess, the Wards of Radiance, but I guess he is part of that. I don't even know. It doesn't really even go too much detail. It's just okay. Then we move on, and then we get to the king being killed. Starts with a G. My Wheel of Time mind wants to say Galad, but it's not Galad. It's something like that, Galeth or something like that. Getting killed. Once again, not a main. It does. They talk about way later in the book, but yeah. Once again, pretty cool action sequence there, but then you just fast forward to Kaladin, who is the main character, but it's not in the time that the books really take place. It's, months before. And then the story actually starts. So you're really like a good chunk into the book before you're actually getting anywhere. It just feels like a whole lot of setup for stuff that's not going to pan out for quite some time. So I did not like the start. And I've heard a lot of people say that about it before. Once you get into it, Kaladin's story was amazing. And I mentioned that in the beginning of this video. There's one character, and that's Kaladin. And I think you're meant to love Kaladin. He is that downtrodden warrior that everything has gone bad for him. If they renamed him Murphy from Murphy's Law, that would fit Kaladin. Like, everything that could go wrong will go wrong. Like, everything went wrong in his life up until this point. Now he's a slave, pretty much fodder to be killed as a distraction. So it's pretty bad. His life. And then you get to Shallan and Yasna. Which I hate that plot line. I know some people love Yasna, and I found her annoying. Shallan I found also annoying. Towards the end, it got a little better. But her drawing pictures was just kind of boring for me. I'm like, oh, she's drawing some weird symbol heads. I don't care. And this is my opinion. It just didn't hook me. There wasn't enough action. And then the whole the poisoning and the double crossing just fell flat for me. I was just like, okay, cool. Try to kill. Yes, no, oh well. So sorry to be that way, but yeah, I just kept on being eager. Okay, when are we getting back to Bridge 4? I want to hear more about that and what's going on there. And then of course the interludes in between parts. That was always confusing. And even, I still don't understand what's going on there. I kind of get it. And then the third kind of character that I absolutely loved, Dolinair. Didn't like him at first just because I didn't trust Light Eyes. I don't think you're supposed to. And then he seemed kind of crazy. And then as you get to know him and he's trying to like bring back honor and follow the way of the kings. And it's just, yeah, I mean, this is full spoilers now. So when he gives up the shard blade for Kaladin at the end, it just drove home so much. And then the sprints, super confused about all the sprints, and all of it. Syl, found her humorous and funny, but at the same time, very intrigued about where that's going. Some of my fun tertiary characters, like Rock, and Moash, I loved some of the bridge crew. They were a lot of fun. Just their humor and added some extra bits to it. Rock really reminded me of like a Loyal, if you're talking about Wheel of Time, or even because he was that peaceful. Obviously could be badass, but super peaceful. Or even like, well, he talked more in Groot. But what's the other big guy from Guardians of the Galaxy? I can't remember his name now. The big guy. Yeah, that takes everything seriously. That have any sense of humor or any ability to find sarcasm. It just goes over his head. But yeah, it just reminded me of that kind of character. And just some little bit of comic relief, but like seems like a huge badass dude that just wants to cook food. Which I just loved him. So overall, like I said, I gave it a B. I enjoyed the book. I do recommend you read it. Overall, it was very, very enjoyable. Anything that's a C or better on my scale, I recommend go ahead and go read. If it's a D, I would say, yeah, you can do without it. But, yeah, if it's a C or better, go read it. Go check it out. And, let me know what you think. Let me know what you thought about The Way of Kings. I'm reading The Word of Radiance pretty soon. And I'll be doing a book review on that. Next review is going to be on Leviathan Wakes, which is the first book of the Expanse series. I've already seen all the TV show that's come out so far. So, I usually enjoy books a lot more when I watch the TV show first because the book's better. But at the same time, I love the TV show. So I don't want the TV show to be ruined for me. So a little worried about doing that book review, but still looking forward to it. And let me know what other books I should review. Go ahead and make suggestions. I might review them. So until next time, guys, peace.